Hello, my loves. I decided to go on Facebook a minute or two early to see if I can help anybody that has been having difficulty getting online. So I am here if you guys have a comment, and hopefully I can see you if you are commenting and tell you where you can find this. I'm going to post a link in the comments, in fact, so if for some reason you cannot see the stream, but you can see me, then maybe if you can see the comments, you can click on that, because I know a number of people have said that Facebook has been messing with them, and that you guys have had a hard time getting in, and then that's really frustrating. So, anyways, hopefully everybody who wanted to come in is in, and let's start. So, hello everyone. I am excited to see you. Thanks for joining me today. I started 15 minutes later than in the past in order to try to be more convenient for those people that mentioned that they get off of work at 5. So hopefully this helped. We will see. If you would prefer a different time, then please leave me a note in the comments today or whenever you are able to watch this, and I will try to make it the most accessible for everyone. So today we're going to talk about our backs, and I've always said, so show me someone without back pain, and I doubt that they are human, because it seems to be something that everyone has struggled with at some point in their life, either chronically, which basically means over 6 months or more, or acutely, which means that it has a tendency to come and go depending on what's going on in our lives, what thoughts we're thinking. But if you're in acute pain, then that means you're in pain at present, and it's been less than 6 months. So to begin, why don't we start with kind of our back as a whole. As you know, we have a number of major muscle groups in the back, along with our spine, which help keeps us upright. So we're going to talk about the spine. And when we talk about our spine, I want you to think about all the phrases that are generally related to the spine. So having a spine generally means that you're capable of standing up for yourself. And being spineless is generally a term that we use to refer to somebody who's unable to feel capable or brave enough to brace themselves against the disapproval of others or their wants or needs, especially if they're contrary to their own. So what kind of thoughts can help heal the spine? Well, finding faith in yourself, learning to trust yourself and your decisions, even if you're unsure of yourself at times. I firmly believe, and feel free to argue with me in the comments, but I firmly believe that we never make bad decisions. That we, all of us, make exactly the decision that we can in the moment based on what we know, what we believe, and the strengths that we have or that we don't. So trust and believe that even though in hindsight it may not seem that you got what you wanted or what you thought you wanted, I believe we will always get what we need regardless, and that we indeed do always do our best. Our back overall represents the burdens that we carry. So I'm sure you've heard the phrase, the straw that broke the camel's back. Well, this is often used in relationships to point to how we cannot carry anymore. However, instead of the proverbial camel's physical burdens, we're talking about our mental and emotional burdens. And in a time like this, they are large. They're perhaps for some bigger than they've ever been. And there is so much fear and worry and stress that I think more people than at my generation, perhaps any other time in history, are feeling truly overwhelmed and overburdened. Do you feel burdened? Do you feel overwhelmed by life? Do you feel unable to support yourself through all that you've gone through? Or do you feel perhaps without any support? I know so many of us have gone through this pandemic alone in the truest sense of the word. Last week, I posted a movie that I cannot recommend highly enough called The Wisdom of Trauma. Now, this movie and all its accoutrements cost me over $250 to get for you guys. So please, if you've experienced trauma or addiction or pain, or you know or love someone that has, please take the time to watch this movie. I guarantee you will learn something and walk away knowing yourself and your loved ones better. So, one of the quotes that Dr. Gabor Mate stated in the movie that I thought was incredibly profound is that children, our inner children, do not suffer because of their trauma. They suffer because they're alone with it. In other words, they're burdened without support. So for us to heal our backs, learning to lean on others is really important. Learning to delegate, to trust, to let people help you. And if you don't have those people in your life currently, then be brave and seek out your people. I believe that we're never too much or too little, perhaps for some people, but then they're not our people. So your people, if they're not around you, they're still out there and they're waiting for you to find them. So keep looking, meetup groups, chat groups, groups that are specific and just those things that you find fascinating. They're out there. So let's get a little bit more specific about the back. So our lower back generally relates to our relationship with money. So what does this mean? Well, if you're afraid of money, afraid of having too little, or, believe it or not, afraid of having too much, or just simply someone who would rather not have to think about money. Money often connects to pain in our lower back. Money struggles, money fears, even money beliefs. So one of the things that I recommend, a good exercise, is if you struggle with low back pain, write down what you have been told about money or what you grew up believing. And ask yourself, is it really true? And ask yourself, does it still serve me to believe that? And to give you kind of an idea of how deep it could go, I'll share my own. Growing up, I believed that to be poor was to be honorable, that it meant that you were hardworking, solid folk, people that could be counted on. And to be rich meant that you were likely untrustworthy, maybe even devious, or uncaring of the plight of others. So unknowingly, I kept myself, well, we'll say not rich, so I could still consider myself a good person. It's crazy, right? So our middle and upper back are generally similar, and they relate to the feeling of carrying around too much, the need to get something off our back, to put down burdens, specifically like shame, blame, and guilt, to release our past and forgive ourselves and others, letting go of the need to be right and finding freedom in the acceptance that regardless of whether or not it felt fair or right or just, sometimes it simply is what it is. Now, this is not a phrase of defeat or an allowance of injustice. If you can do something to right a wrong or defend someone, then absolutely do it. But sometimes, I don't know about you, but I know that I struggle with things that cannot be righted. Things that perhaps I just ruminate on and overthink and overstress about. So if that's you, then perhaps coming to a space of awareness where you can find your acceptance. Now for our upper back, more specifically, well, it tends to connect with love, feeling unloved, unwanted, unappreciated. This can relate to present or past hurts and ways that we feel we might have suffered or still suffer at the hands of others. In Buddhism, we would say that we only suffer to the extent of our attachment to outcome. So if you think about that and all the ways that you and I are attached to our outcome, from the micro to the macro, from the moment to the memory, sometimes we need to let it go. We need to get it off our back. We need to let go of our need for revenge, our need for recompense, and accept that, well, it was what it was. It is what it is. And whether or not it's clear to you, it's all going to be okay. So that's it for my notes on back today. Next week we'll be talking about shoulders and all of our shoulds. So let me look down and see if I got any questions today. Oh, hi Jan. Hi Rita. Oh, it's so good to see your name. Susie, I hope you're taking care of yourself with the fires. I'm so worried about you. Susan, I'm sorry to hear that it's frozen. I hate to say, hopefully it's your internet and not mine. But I'm glad you saw the movie. And what is the biggest fear? Well, I think the biggest fear that I have run across with my clients is the fear that they're doing it wrong, that somehow they are living their life wrong. And if you share that fear, then let me sincerely tell you, it's not true. You're not doing anything wrong. You are, in fact, perfect, exactly as you are. Yeah, you may not be perfectly happy. You may not have a perfect life, but I still feel that you are perfect, as am I, and that we are living our lives as we're meant to live it. And again, it may be different than the outcome that we foresaw. So that's where it comes to us to release our attachment to that outcome. Instead, let it be. Let it be what it is. And find your joys and your lessons with the experience that you're having. And let go of your need to control. And let go of your belief that it should be other than it is. Because in all honesty, that's the biggest fallacy we hold. If something's happening, then it is inherently supposed to be happening. Because it is. So even if we don't like it, well, that's where our power lies. Our power lies in the ability to find our joy even through something that we would think was unexpected or unwanted. And if we can't find our joy, then find our lesson and grow from it, so we can become even more of our own hero. So I guess, Rita, that may be a long response to what I think I see as our biggest fears. Jan, do you think letting go about events, the meaning about events, helps us with this? So I think you're exactly right. If I'm reading what you've written correctly, I think the meaning that we place about something is exactly where our pain lies in many ways, isn't it? The way we say something is bad or not, when in fact it could be incredibly neutral. I think about rain. Well, rain right now is desperately needed. But on your wedding day, you don't want it at all. So you could think about experiences somewhat like that. They are neutral. It is how we perceive them and the value we place on them that gives them meaning, positive, negative, or indifferent. So if you can reframe, rethink your thoughts to ones that don't cause you pain, that is where your freedom lies, both mentally, emotionally, and physically. So thank you for joining me today, and it's been 15 minutes, and so I'll let you all go, but I will continue to look on this page for any questions that you have. Join me next Monday at 5:15 for a talk about our shoulders and all of our shoulds, because they're fascinating. And in the meantime, well, take care of yourself for me, okay? Bye.